What if your life sentence of insulin dependency could be cancelled in exactly 90 days without a single synthetic drug? The medical industrial complex is terrified you'll discover the ancient, unpatentable green pod orchestrating this metabolic resurrection. Drop your pill bottle. You need to hear this. Imagine sitting in a sterile, fluorescent-lit examination room, watching the tip of your doctor's pen hover over a prescription pad, poised to sign away the last remnants of your biological freedom. That was David. For 11 agonizing years, David had been trapped in the suffocating, relentless cycle of type 2 diabetes. He did everything they told him to do. He swallowed the maximum daily dose of Metformin. He stripped his diet of every comforting carbohydrate, and yet he watched his own body slowly betray him in real time. His A1C was stubbornly, terrifyingly anchored at 8.4%. His physician was calmly preparing the paperwork to transition him to injectable insulin, effectively handing him a life sentence of dependency. David was standing at the edge of a metabolic cliff, utterly stripped of options and drowning in despair. But then, a radical, almost unthinkable intervention was introduced into his life. It was not a newly synthesized multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical compound cooked up in a pristine laboratory. It was a precise, targeted nutritional protocol utilizing a seemingly ordinary, ancient botanical. Fast forward exactly 90 days. The results did not just puzzle his doctor, they shattered the clinical paradigm. David's HbA1c plummeted from that dangerous 8.4% to a highly controlled, deeply stabilized 6.1%. His fasting glucose flatlined into normalcy. The insulin transition was abruptly canceled. He had pulled himself back from the edge of the abyss. What accomplished this profound metabolic recalibration? It was the strategic, highly specific daily consumption of Abelmoschus esculentus, a plant you likely know as okra. If this sounds like a clinical anomaly or an internet fairy tale, I assure you it is not. It is pure, undeniable applied biochemistry. At Healthy Aging US warmly welcomes you to a space where we dismantle the illusions of modern medicine and reclaim our biological truth. If you refuse to be treated as merely a lifelong consumer of symptom-masking drugs and want to uncover the secrets of true cellular healing, I urge you to hit that subscribe button right now. Your support is the vital pulse that gives this channel the strength to continue fighting digital gatekeepers and bringing these life-saving truths into the light. You must ask yourself a chilling question. Why is a cellular-level intervention capable of such profound healing virtually erased from standard medical guidelines? The tragic answer lies in the cold, unforgiving economics of the modern medical industrial complex. We no longer possess a healthcare system. We are captive to a disease management industry. Pharmaceutical empires are built upon patentable molecules. You cannot patent a vegetable. You cannot monopolize a seed grown in the earth. Billions of dollars in research and development are funneled exclusively into synthetic compounds that can be intellectually protected and sold back to you at an exorbitant premium. Natural, unpatentable, deeply effective remedies are cast into the shadows, ignored not because they lack clinical efficacy, but simply because they lack profitability. To unlock the true therapeutic power of okra, we must completely abandon our culinary prejudice. Forget the sticky texture you may have despised in your youth. We must view this plant through the awe-inspiring lens of molecular biology. This is not merely a vegetable. It is a highly complex, bioactive pharmacy whose documented medical usage stretches back to the regenerative practices of ancient Egypt. That thick, viscous mucilage that so many find unappetizing is the very matrix of its extraordinary power. In biochemical terms, this gel is not just dietary fiber. It is an intricate, intelligent polysaccharide matrix composed of rhamnogalacturonin, arabinogalactan, and deeply complex glycoproteins. When you ingest this matrix, you are not just eating roughage. You are deploying a highly sophisticated chemical payload directly into your gastrointestinal tract, setting the stage for a systemic metabolic resurrection. To truly grasp the magnitude of this metabolic resurrection, we must follow that sophisticated chemical payload deep into the labyrinth of your digestive tract. When that thick, viscous mucilage enters your stomach, it does not passively digest like ordinary food. It goes to work like a master tactician. In the modern American diet, our bodies are subjected to a violent, relentless barrage of refined carbohydrates. The moment these sugars hit your small intestine, an enzyme called alpha-glucosidase acts as the catalyst, violently cleaving complex carbs into raw glucose that floods your bloodstream, forcing your pancreas into a desperate, exhausting overdrive. This is the physiological violence that drives type 2 diabetes. But the polysaccharide matrix of Abelmaschus esculentus intercepts this very process. It acts as a profound botanical shield. As it coats the intestinal lining, it actively binds to those digestive enzymes, powerfully inhibiting alpha-glucosidase and drastically slowing the absorption of sugar into your blood. It transforms a catastrophic glucose spike into a gentle, rolling wave that your exhausted pancreas can finally manage. But the brilliance of this plant does not stop at the intestinal wall. It travels deeper into the dark, fertile ecosystem of your microbiome. For decades, the medical establishment ignored the gut flora, treating the digestive tract as mere plumbing. We now know it is the control center of human immunity and metabolism. The complex arabinogalactans in this botanical gel serve as elite-level prebiotics. They feed specific, vital strains of bifidobacteria that have been systematically starved by synthetic diets and decimated by antibiotics. As these beneficial bacteria feast on the mucilage, they produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate is a biological miracle. It crosses the intestinal barrier, travels through your bloodstream, and directly communicates with your cells, instructing them to open their insulin receptors. It effectively reverses insulin resistance from the inside out, not by forcing the body to comply with a synthetic chemical, but by whispering the ancient language of cellular harmony. It is a profound, beautiful symphony of biochemical restoration that no laboratory could ever hope to patent. This biochemical restoration, however, refuses to be confined solely to the regulation of blood glucose, sending ripples of healing throughout the entire human organism. When you suffer from metabolic dysfunction, you are never just fighting one battle. High blood sugar is merely the alarm bell. The fire is systemic inflammation, quietly incinerating your cardiovascular system and exhausting your vital organs. I have watched too many people weep in my office, not just because of their blood sugar readings, but because of the crushing fatigue, the terrifying brain fog, and the looming specter of kidney failure. The pharmaceutical answer is to prescribe a different pill for every symptom, leaving you clutching a toxic cocktail that tortures your liver. Yet the moment you introduce this ancient botanical matrix into your daily routine, you initiate a cascade of holistic repair. The mucilage that binds excess glucose also operates as a biological magnet for bile acids in the gut. To replace these lost bile acids, your liver is forced to pull circulating low-density lipoprotein, the dangerous LDL cholesterol, straight out of your bloodstream. Without a single statin, without the agonizing muscle cramps and memory loss associated with cholesterol medications, your lipid profile begins to naturally, gracefully balance itself. Furthermore, this plant is fiercely protective of the kidneys, the very organs most brutally damaged by years of elevated glucose. The deep green pods are bursting with profound antioxidant flavonoids, specifically quercetin and isoquercitrin. These molecules cross into the renal tissues, neutralizing the oxidative stress and advanced glycation end products that scar the delicate nephrons. I remember reading the clinical pathology reports of patients who integrated this protocol, seeing their glomerular filtration rates stabilize and even improve. It is an emotional revelation to witness a body pulling itself back from the brink of dialysis. You suddenly realize that true medicine does not fragment the body into isolated broken parts. True medicine recognizes the magnificent, interconnected web of human biology, healing the heart, shielding the kidneys, and restoring the profound, natural energy that disease tries to steal from your life. To unlock this magnificent, interconnected web of healing, you cannot simply toss this plant into a frying pan. You must treat it with the reverence of a master apothecary. For generations, culinary traditions have violently misunderstood this botanical, subjecting it to high-heat frying, breading, and prolonged boiling in a desperate attempt to cook away its signature mucilage. But in destroying the gel, they incinerated the medicine. If you want to harness the life-saving potential we have uncovered, you must fundamentally change your relationship with preparation. Heat is the enemy of these delicate, complex polysaccharides. High temperatures denature the glycoproteins and shatter the very molecular bonds that give the gel its therapeutic power. The protocol I am about to share is devastatingly simple, yet it requires precision and patience. You are not cooking a meal. You are cold extracting a bioactive serum. Take 4 to 5 fresh, organically grown pods, ensuring they are firm and vibrant green, untouched by synthetic pesticides that would only add to your liver's toxic burden. Wash them meticulously. Slice off the ends, and then cut the pods horizontally into thin wheels, exposing as much surface area as possible to release the internal matrix. Place these slices into a glass mason jar, never plastic, as you do not want endocrine-disrupting microplastics leaching into your medicinal water. Fill the jar with 12 to 16 ounces of purified, room-temperature water. Now, you wait. You must allow this to steep overnight for a minimum of 8 to 12 hours at room temperature or in the refrigerator. During this quiet time in the dark, the water acts as a gentle solvent, coaxing the profound arabinogalactans and rhamnogalacturonins out of the fibrous tissue and into the liquid. By morning, you will find that the water has transformed. It will be thick, viscous, and brimming with biological intelligence. Remove the sliced pods, squeezing them slightly to extract the last drops of the mucilage, and drink this elixir first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. This ensures the gel coats your pristine digestive tract, laying down its protective matrix before a single calorie of food is introduced. As that cool medicinal liquid coats your stomach, you are doing far more than drinking a botanical extract. You are drinking the antidote to a broken system. We have been deeply, systematically conditioned to believe that our bodies are fragile, defective machines that inevitably break down with age, requiring the constant, lifelong intervention of synthetic chemicals just to survive. I reject that narrative with every fiber of my being. When I look at the human body, I do not see a fragile machine. I see a breathtakingly resilient organism, desperate to heal, waiting only for the correct biological tools to be placed in its hands. The medical-industrial complex has spent billions trying to convince you that your health is out of your control, that your genetics are a death sentence, and that your only hope lies at the bottom of an orange plastic pill bottle. But the story of David and the sheer, undeniable biochemistry of this simple green pod proves that the power has always belonged to you. You are not a helpless victim of your metabolism. You are the architect of your own vitality. Choosing to embrace this ancient protocol is an act of profound rebellion. It is a declaration of sovereignty over your own flesh and blood. It requires stepping away from the comforting, sterile lies of conventional wisdom and embracing the profound, messy, deeply intelligent truths of the natural world. I know the fear of walking away from what the experts tell you. I know the anxiety that grips your chest when you look at a blood test result. But I also know the indescribable, tear-inducing joy of watching a human being break free from the chains of chronic disease. I want that freedom for you. I want you to wake up with a mind that is sharp, a heart that is strong, and a body that hums with natural, unbridled energy. The knowledge is now in your hands. The botanical tools are growing in the earth, waiting for you. It is time to stop managing your illness and start demanding your cure. Reclaim your biological destiny today, because your life, your health, and your future are simply too magnificent to be outsourced to an industry that profits from your pain. The journey of understanding this humble green pod reveals a profound truth about human health. True healing comes from aligning with nature's biochemical intelligence, rather than suppressing symptoms with synthetic drugs. Okra's viscous mucilage acts as a master regulator in the human body. By cold extracting its delicate polysaccharides, soaking freshly sliced pods in purified water overnight, we unlock a bioactive serum that profoundly alters our metabolic destiny. This botanical gel coats the intestinal lining to blunt catastrophic glucose spikes, feeds essential gut flora to reverse insulin resistance from the inside out, binds to bile acids to naturally lower cholesterol, and delivers potent antioxidants to protect and regenerate delicate kidney tissue. It is a holistic, systemic restoration that addresses the root fire of metabolic dysfunction, rather than merely masking its alarm bells. Ultimately, embracing this ancient protocol is an act of profound self-empowerment. It shatters the pervasive narrative that chronic decline is inevitable and that lifelong dependence on pharmaceuticals is our only option. The human body is incredibly resilient, constantly striving for balance and vitality when given the proper natural tools. By integrating this simple, inexpensive, and scientifically backed morning ritual into your daily life, you step out of the endless cycle of disease management and step into true, vibrant health, successfully reclaiming sovereignty over your own biological destiny. The most powerful lesson we can extract from this is that our bodies are not inherently broken, fragile machines destined for lifelong medical intervention. They are brilliant, self-healing ecosystems. However, modern society often destroys the very natural cures provided by the earth through overprocessing, high-heat cooking, and a demand for instant gratification. Just as frying okra destroys its life-saving mucilage. True medicine requires patience, reverence for natural biological processes, and the fundamental understanding that we cannot outsmart nature. We must partner with it. Adopt the cold extraction ritual. Start tonight. Slice 4 to 5 fresh, organic okra pods, steep them in 12 to 16 ounces of purified room-temperature water in a glass jar overnight, and drink the medicinal gel first thing tomorrow morning on an empty stomach. Shift your medical mindset. Stop viewing chronic metabolic conditions as an inevitable life sentence or a genetic curse. Begin viewing your daily habits as active, biochemical instructions that either heal or harm your cellular ecosystem. Rethink food preparation. Acknowledge that how you prepare your food is just as critical as what you eat. Protect the delicate fibers, enzymes, and phytonutrients in your natural foods by avoiding extreme heat and heavy processing. Have you ever tried drinking okra water before? Or are you going to try this overnight cold extraction method starting tomorrow? Please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, plans, or personal experiences so our community can read different perspectives and learn from one another. Finally, if you found this information valuable, please subscribe to the channel. Your support is what gives us the motivation to keep researching and bringing you more powerful, life-changing health content.